7 years passed since Cell left Earth. Humanity is still reeling from those terrible moments, but life finally went back to normal and finally the world knew peace. Welcome back, guys, to part 3 of Dragon Ball New Hope. Before I begin, I got a question for you guys. How strong do you think Madara would get if he trained on King Kai's planet? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thank you guys so much for being here. Let's go ahead and jump in. So now we are at Kame House and we see that Krillin and Roshi are both watching the news, and we find out that it's taken 7 long years to rebuild the entire West City. It looks like, it seems like Cell only destroyed West City, whereas the news was telling us that half of humanity is gone. I'm not sure if West City is the biggest city on the planet, and the destruction of the city cut the population in half, but it seemed like that is really the only destruction that Cell had committed to planet Earth before he actually left. So it is a possibility that we're learning some new in Dragon Ball lore that we didn't really know about, talking about where the populations are on planet Earth. Krillin is still bent out of shape with everything that went down. He lost his future wife, he lost his friends, and he lost half of humanity. Roshi literally just tells him to buck up. He's like, it's time to move on. It's been 7 years, almost 10 years, which to me is surprising amount of time that Cell's not there. It feels like a long time. I feel like Cell would have came back by now, to be honest with you, but it is a large universe, and even with instant transmission, it may have taken him a long time to go across it, but how many worlds and how many planets and solar systems has he completely crushed and destroyed because he was basically gone for 7 years? It's a long ass time. Sorry, Master, but it's during West City's rampage that young Trunks, this monster, caused so much misery. I remember poor Bulma. I hope she is doing fine. Stop beating yourself over this. Even though Cell spared you, you couldn't have done anything to prevent the disaster. And so that is the real reason right here that Trunks ended up passing away. So did all of Bulma's family. And I believe West City is actually where Capsule Corp is located. So that means all that Bulma held dear the entire time she's been alive on planet, that is all gone. Everything that she cared about is basically gone. Even her husband, Vegeta, is gone. And what Roshi's saying is absolutely true. You couldn't have done anything if you wanted to. There's absolutely no way you could have stopped Cell, even if since he spared you, you couldn't have done anything. You could have probably, the most you could have done is probably gone there to save as many people as possible to get them out of the city. That's about it. If only Goku and Gohan were not dead. Indeed, but our friends wish to not be brought back to life. We have to respect that decision. Roshi is surprisingly chill with everything that's going on, like quite literally not seemingly caring about the entire situation. And I understand as an Earthling, and they don't really have any sort of viable situation where they could, try to face off against Cell and defeat him. I could see where they would be really upset about the situation, but Cell is an android. Androids are made by humans. Bulma could have made an android to defeat Cell if she really put her mind to it. And honestly, Krillin should be in the hyperbolic time chamber or the room of spirited time training if he really cared that much. But it looks like Bulma is finally coming back into the picture. She's coming to Roshi's island. That's her ship. But it seems like maybe it's been 7 years since they've seen her, which is a long time to not see a friend whose whole family was wiped out. So it actually wasn't Bulma, it's Chi-Chi who's at the door. I thought it was going to be Bulma, but no. It's Chi-Chi. I guess she has learned how to fly, or maybe Bulma is coming in right behind her. So Chi-Chi's a little upset as to how scared Roshi and Krillin got with her presence, how startled they were thinking that it was Cell. She's also kind of upset that they're just sitting there in front of the TV. I think Chi-Chi is more on the lines of we need to get shit done and actually train and do something because everyone's gone. Like, I don't know why you guys are just hanging around. So she does ask them to come back with her, come outside, because she needs a favor from them. Chi-Chi brings them outside to the ship, and then when she gets inside, someone is missing. She wanted to show them something, but they're completely gone. That is when whoever was waiting for Chi-Chi shows themselves, and it is Goten. Goten is still in the picture. Remember, Chi-Chi got impregnated by Goku right before the Cell games, and Goten would have been born regardless in this world or in our world. So the fact that we got Goten in the story changes a lot of things, because Goten is a Saiyan that has a lot of potential, and I'm actually excited to see what they do with him in this story, if they end up pumping him up, if they end up training with him, if they make him stronger. So they end up meeting Goten, and I still think that it is extremely fascinating how in Dragon Ball a lot of the characters take years, long stretches of time before they actually see each other during times of peace. Like during times of battle and war and threat, they're always right next to each other training and doing whatever. But then once there's peace, they don't see each other for like 5+ years, and they hadn't seen Chi-Chi for about 7 years the entire time, because Goten is 6 here, so she would have been pregnant for that year, and then she would have had Goten. So they haven't seen her for that long, which to me, as Krillin being Goku's best friend, is a complete shame, because Goku, his best friend, needs to help out Goku's family and his wife while he's not there, be a friend of the family and help everybody out. But it seems like Krillin and Roshi have been mainly doing their own thing. But this right here is something that I really wanted to see. I waited that long because you're not good models. You would have had the same bad influence that you had on my Gohan. But I didn't just come here for you to meet Goten. I want you to train him. So that was in response to Roshi being like, why have you never brought your son over before? And she has a reason, and the reason here is that, I don't want you to corrupt Gohan. Gohan was corrupted by you guys, and now she basically got to raise Goten all by herself and give him everything that she thinks he needs. You want us to train Goten, but for what? Didn't you want Gohan to become a scientist? Goten is not like his brother Gohan was. He only loves fighting. I know the world is at peace, but since Cell left 7 years ago, I can't shake this bad feeling. I got deep within me that he'll come back, and on this day, the world will need a hero. I also like video games, and Goten. If this is going to be a story fully focused on Goten, like training and becoming powerful, I am 100% all in, because I felt like Goten is completely underrated in Dragon Ball Super, so I'm so glad that we're getting more Goten content in this manga. To be honest, I have the same feeling regarding Cell. However, I doubt I can shape Goten in a fighter capable of beating Cell. Even Goku and Gohan couldn't do anything. Don't worry about Goten, I trained him, he's stronger than you think. So here we go with Krillin making any excuse in the book not to train Goten, which is a complete shame. Honestly, I don't like the way that Krillin is characterized in here, especially since he is the last surviving member of the team that's still alive, and Roshi's like, just train the boy. I mean, Gohan was younger than Goten is, and less capable and less trained when he went under training with Piccolo, so he needs to train. But right now I'm wondering, can Goten go into Super Saiyan, because that's what happened in the main timeline. So they set up this fight between Krillin and Goten to see how strong Goten actually is, and to kind of compare the two, see where he's at with his training and what he needs to improve on. And Roshi reminds Krillin that he needs to go easy on him, because if he does hurt him, Chi-Chi will kill him. It's important to stay hydrated before a training, Goten, and remember what I told you before coming here. Seeing Goten takes me back almost 30 years ago. The resemblance with his father is uncanny. It's almost troubling. You're gonna fight too, Mom? No, I don't want you to wreck the ship Bulma offered me. And so you see here that Bulma and Chi-Chi still seem to have some sort of relationship, and the fact that Bulma is offering spaceships or ships in general to, Chi-Chi and I'm assuming other people, means that she's still in business, even though Capsule Corporation's main office was completely destroyed by Cell. It could actually be rebuilt right now. And so Krillin is actually astonished as to how much enthusiasm Chi-Chi has for fighting right now, because she never had that before. But the focus is right now on training with Goten and Krillin, and Chi-Chi says we need to focus on that and don't underestimate Goten. And so the fighting is about to commence, and just my predictions here, and that is that, well, for one thing, Krillin goads him into getting one single hit on him to see if Goten can do it. I do want Krillin to do well because I feel like Krillin is strong, but with Goten being half Saiyan and how powerful he became in the main timeline, I believe that this is like basically evenly matched. I don't know, guys. Who do you think would win this fight? Because I feel like if Goten cannot go into Super Saiyan, then Krillin has an edge, but if he can go, Krillin is screwed. So once the fighting begins, Krillin actually dodges every single one of Goten's blows, like completely. He doesn't land one. Goten starts to get frustrated, and it's easy to see that he is getting a little bit upset with the way the fight is going because he cannot catch Krillin. Krillin seems to be a lot faster than Goten, so to me that means that maybe Goten doesn't know Super Saiyan. So with Krillin disappearing, Goten actually becomes a little bit upset because Krillin is kind of just playing around with him, and Goten is getting mad, saying that he faced off against dinosaurs around his area and it's a lot more fun. Krillin is not being fun right now. He's just kind of evading him, and Krillin's surprised like that he can't sense power at all. He can't sense ki, so he basically doesn't know the basics, and that is when Chi-Chi tells him to forget what she said earlier. Chi-Chi tells him that it's time to show his real stuff, show exactly what he can do. And so Goten says everything changes for round 2, which for me only means one thing. And that's exactly what ends up happening. Goten starts powering up into a transformation. His eyes turn green, his hair lights up, everybody's on edge, everyone's on guard because Goten is about to transform into a Super Saiyan. And that is exactly what happens. Goten goes into Super Saiyan. That's exactly what happens in the main timeline. Makes a lot of sense. I don't think that there would be any sort of change with everybody being passed away where Goten wouldn't be able to transform into a Super Saiyan because it was fighting with Chi-Chi that actually pushed him into that. And Krillin is as dumbfounded as I'm assuming everybody else is, including Roshi. And that is going to be the end of today's chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.